Time for another game week press conference brought to you by Bonanza Egg. The head coach, Matt Entz, just moments away from stepping up to the podium at the Shack after SDSU gets a win against Indiana State. And today, you flip the script and you welcome in the South Dakota State Jackrabbits for the Dakota Marker game on Saturday. Coach Entz will be speaking about that here in just a little bit. Our press conference coverage brought to you by Bonanza Egg. Chris Hoffman is the owner of Bonanza Egg Services. He is your local experienced crop consultant that partners with farmers for crop monitoring, crop protection, seed and seed treatment, along with soil sampling, fertility consulting, and a whole lot more. You can contact Chris by emailing him, chris@bonanzaegg.com. Matt Entz just moments away from stepping up to the podium. The Bison got a 5-point win on the road last week against Indiana State. Need to be better this week. Will be better this week. And SDSU comes in off of a victory against their in-state rival USD from a week ago. They won that game 28-3. So two teams undefeated in the Valley, top two teams in the country. And the Stats Perform top 25 poll from the Stats Perform folks there for the FCS. So a coaches poll as well, top teams in the country. So this is the matchup of the week, maybe a matchup of the year in the FCS. Always look forward to this one. 2:30 kickoff inside the Fargo Dome. Our coverage starts at 8:30 in the morning with the Bison Report Show, and then Bison Tailgate Show after that. And we'll start at Bison Game Day. We'll start at 11:30 from the bus outside the tailgate lot. Already a sold-out crowd as well. Student tickets all but up, so should be a great atmosphere inside the Dome. Let's check in on the atmosphere at the Shack. Here's the head coach.
Hey, he's not up here yet. He's walking up.
We'll bring it back here. And wait for the head coach to be up there. Thanks to Rob Hipp letting us know, not up there quite yet, so we'll wait for the head coach to take to the podium. Not a problem at all. I'm sure he's got plenty of thoughts on that win against Indiana State. Cam Miller playing well, defense playing well, putting up a lot of yards. And here is head coach Matt Entz.
Okay, good to see everyone. Before we dive into Bison football, I'm going to comment on someone that's connected to Bison football, but just not here currently, and that's Bob Highland, head football coach at St. Mary's Springs. Those of you who know Bob or know the name, Bob graduated from here in 1970, became the head football coach at St. Mary's Springs in 1971, and on Friday he won his 500th football game as a high school football coach. And I think that deserves some acknowledgement, just not only in the number of games he's won, 14 state championships, 30-odd some conference championships, but the thousands upon thousands of young men and women he's probably positively influenced over his career. And so, Coach Highland, if you're listening to this, congratulations. We sent him a video, congratulations, and his grandson, Isaac, who plays for us currently right now, third generation, got to be a part of it as well. And so I just think anytime we can acknowledge success like that, we need to. But congrats to him, congrats to his family, because as you guys know, it takes a village to operate a team at times. But good to see it. Like I said, good to see everyone. Tough win on the road in Terre Haute. Game was full of ups and downs and unique situations. I am appreciative and excited that our players were able to find ways and manners in which to get that scoreboard corrected. There's a lot of things that we need to continue to improve on. Sounding a little bit probably like a broken record player when I come in here on Mondays, but the facts are the facts. I don't think we've played our best football. I had met with our leadership council this morning and told them the same thing. I hate using the word potential. I just don't think we've played as well as that we're capable of right now. When you start looking at the number of so-called veterans and or experienced players on this roster, I think there's more in the tank right now, and we got to find ways. I need to find ways to get that conveyed to the football field because there's been glimpses of really good football during the course of the season, and then there's been moments of poor football. Just calling it is what it is. But I'll open it up for questions.
Yeah, it was testing you guys deep a lot throughout the course of the game. A lot of chunk plays, kind of more downfield. Is that something you're concerned with seeing more going forward?
They did put it up, probably against some single high defense a time or two. If they're completing it, it becomes a big issue. If they fall incomplete and they're 50-50 balls that you have the opportunity to go get, I think they probably completed one or two. I know one, kid made a great play. Dustin tipped the football and it, took a it's an oblong-shaped ball. It took the wrong bounce off his hand and fell right into the kid's hand or kid's body as he was laying on the ground. But that's something that we have to make sure that we're prepared for. A lot of times we're able to take that away from people in a too-high shell, but we jumped into some single high at different times, and some of their RPO stuff, they took shots with some max protection.
Teams in the country going head-to-head this weekend. Kind of what have you seen from South Dakota State as far as a program growing to the point where they are right now?
I think they're a really good football team. Like I said before, I had a meeting with our leadership council this morning, and I think they're probably the best football team in the country. You look at their resume, they've played better football than we have, and so we have a lot of things that we need to continue to stress this week. But I think our kids will be locked in, and we have to have greater focus going into this game than we've had the last couple.
Coming off of giving up 26 points, the most y'all have all year to an FCS opponent, what will be the message to the defense going into this one?
We can't have bust on fits. Simple things that man, you go back, there's video evidence of us, fitting counter hundreds, probably thousands of times in our time here, and it comes down to execution. And part of execution is being focused on the things that you've worked on all week. Well, when the focus isn't there and you kind of just go through the motions, you're going to get exposed. And that's what's frustrating because, you talk about we probably tackled okay, in my opinion, but you take the big explosive play away, probably we're talking completely different. But we have to fix those. There's always a lull in games, and we got to find a way to correct that.
State turnovers come in bunches. You've had 6 fumbles lost in 2 of the last 3 games. Just what is it beyond better ball security? How do you stress that in practice?
Well, I'm not sure if there's a way that we can stress it anymore in practice with ball security circuits. We have our scouts out there trying to strip the football. I don't know now. I don't know if there's a correct answer. Is it, if you look back at the 6 fumbles we've had, all of them have been poked out from the behind as kids are falling to the ground. Is it something that our kids are just straining to try to gain another yard, and so now ball security is becoming compromised because now they're losing a couple points of pressure with the football? That would be one philosophy that I would have. Our kids trying to strain for the extra yard, and all of a sudden now the thing's on the ground. But you're exactly right. Sometimes I think those things happen more between the ears than they do, because of the opponent.
Have a chance this week, or was that a short-term, long-term thing?
Don't know right now. Still waiting. He has an appointment this afternoon after this meeting, so hopefully I'll get some good news. But I don't think it's a long-term. To answer part of your question, anticipate he will be. Thought potentially he could have maybe gone on Saturday with that ankle sprain, but felt like it was necessary to give him another day or two just to make sure. Last thing you want is that to become a chronic situation over the course of the remaining games.
Number 1 versus number 2 in the Fargo Dome since it opened. Any comment on that? When you get in the top 2 teams?
Have not even thought about it. Didn't come across my thought. I don't think we really look at those things too much. I'm sure, knowing John, I doubt he and his team really look at that a whole lot. We know it's 2 teams that have a great rivalry between them, and both teams are going to play unbelievably hard on Saturday, and I anticipate it's going to be an awesome atmosphere in the Fargo Dome.
What role can the crowd and the atmosphere have in a game like this?
Well, one, quarterback hasn't played in the Dome when it's full. Of course, false starts, anything like that, miscommunication. I do think at times it can be tough to do a lot of trade shift in motion, especially like jet motions and timing those things up, unless you're well versed with noise. So it can impact, I think, the offense probably more so than the defense.
Go back and look, maybe not even last fall, but the spring game where Gronowski played, Isaiah Davis played because Oladokin and Strong aren't there. I know you got 6 games worth of tape this year, but do you look at spring of 2021 too?
I think you look at some things. Now they have a new offensive coordinator as well, so you got to be smart not to, chase things down rabbit holes. But both teams have played each other a number of times over the course of, in my 9 years here, it's probably been 12 or 13 games that we've played each other. You can, like I said, you can get caught going down a rabbit's hole and not be productive. And so trying to look at the right things, how they took advantage. There was some quarterback run game in that spring game. More quarterback run game has shown up of late, especially this last weekend against USD. You saw some more. So tells me he's getting healthy, feeling better, and we're going to have to do some things to layer our fits at different times.
Ask that. Do you think is he back to Gronowski, what you saw that spring?
I probably haven't seen him enough to say yes or no. We haven't had any crossover film with them, meaning we haven't played an opponent who's played them. So today was really, and yesterday were the first time that we've really dove into watching their film. He looks like he's throwing it and spinning it and has great command of what they're doing offensively.
Using Dom Jones these days. Looks like he's all over the place.
He is all over the place. He's kind of become he's too good to stand on the sideline, and so we're trying to utilize him as a little bit of a slot area defender in some nickel situations. He's still playing some safety at different times, and at times trying to keep it simple for Dom. But at the same time, he's been in the program 3 years now, and this is the year where it needs to start clicking. But I think he's doing a good job. He's a true safety, but he does a nice job in that slot area spot for us.
As high a level as you have seen Cam Miller operate at?
Are you talking about Saturday, or just recent?
Specifically Saturday.
Saturday, I thought he was unbelievably efficient. And if you go back and watch the film, and I know Ross, you have, there's probably 3 or 4 drops in there where all of a sudden this young man, he was targeting it really well. Now, Cam's very detail-oriented and very specific. I'm sure he'd sit here and tell you the ball was behind the receiver, but there was 2 or 3 balls that could have been dropped. I mean, you could be talking about 24 for 27, 25 for 27. That's 2 weeks in a row now that our quarterback's been 70%. 2 weeks in a row that we've thrown to 8 different people. And so he's utilizing his tools. He's spreading the ball out all over the field. I'm excited about where we're at. There's screen game, there's overs, there's verticals, there's check down passes. He's making good decisions right now.
The Youngstown game, throw that out. Your previous 3 opponents have had 2 total penalties.
You'd have to ask their coaches, I guess. I'm worried about us.
You see them at sharp teams, they're sharp against you then, I would imagine.
It is. I don't know what to say. I don't know if it's just one of those things, coincidence, but we're going to keep doing what we do.
Got a couple dozen snaps, I think, on Saturday. You have a chance to look at film and see how he performed, and what did you think of him?
I thought he did a really good job. I think it was like 19 or 20 snaps total, 3 tackles. I know he did a great job. Zone play, threw off the tight end, made a tackle in C-gap. I think we're only scratching the surface with Cole being a second-year player. He's going to have to mature quickly as far as volume of playbook and playing efficiency, execution level. We got a lot of good football teams on our schedule still, and an excellent, outstanding football team on our schedule this week.
It comes at the end of the week, but you've got to be excited about the cutting of what's going to happen in the indoor facility. Just the emotions of that. It looks like the road is done here with getting inside.
Well, it is. There are hundreds upon hundreds of people that are connected to that, to the construction, the fundraising, the planning of that facility. I remember in 2014, it was exciting to get the bubble, and this facility, the bubble served its purpose and was unbelievable for 8-9 years. And believe me, we used the heck out of it. I think every sport did. But this is going to be on a whole different level when you compare it to the bubble. There's been some unbelievable, generous people that are very well connected, not only to football, but to athletics, that have allowed us to have the finances to build this. And a lot of people right here in the city of Fargo, Moorhead area, people in the state of North Dakota, but alumni all over the country, supporters from all over the country that have really bought into the vision, bought into this is something that this university needs. And as you can see, I think this thing has been done with as much class. And I mean, we talk about all the time at NDSU, one of the unique things about our university is we do things the right way. I think here's just another example of we're going to try to do it better than it's ever been done, and we're going to make sure it's done the right way, and something that all of our alumni, current students, athletes, people in Fargo Moorhead can be excited about.
Team looked inside as the team got it.
Every day you see people looking through the windows. Usually on Wednesday, I usually take a stroll through it when everyone's gone, so that way I don't get in trouble and no one comes at me for not having a hard hat on.
Practicing next week if the weather turns inclement?
Yep.
Okay.
Anticipate, one of the great advantages we'll have is Mother Nature, all of a sudden, as we all know, the wind shows up in Fargo out of nowhere. But if we want to do 7-on-7, we can step inside. It expands the room. We kind of have that area outside the dome now. That's 70 by almost 15 yards. That adds a ton of extra space. And so really it's almost like 2.5 fields with all the space that surrounds those, both football fields. It'll be exciting to get in there. I anticipate we'll start using it here as soon as we can.
Said last year his practice facility was more important than the new stadium they got. Would you echo that the practice facility is most important piece?
I think because it's a 365-day piece of equipment, and I'm not belittling it by calling it a piece of equipment, but that's where a lot of development goes on in the off season. That's where, when you live in the upper Midwest, spring practice, you try to push it back as far as you can. We all know Mother Nature's good for an April snowstorm up here in Fargo. You have to have a place where you can go. I can remember, 2 years ago in the spring, where we kept our fingers crossed that the bubble wasn't going to come down with a wet, heavy snow. Now we have a facility that's going to be there when we need it, and all of our sports will have access to it. And I think it'll add not only to the recruiting but also to our current roster and the preparation and the development that they have. A new weight room, another training facility, just is vital. When you have 400 and some student athletes, to be able to spread us out over multiple facilities, I think we'll all see the benefit of it.
Any Power 5 indoor facilities?
I've quite a few. Well, without it being totally completed yet, I think that'll probably be spring of 23 when you see more of the west side completed, talking about locker room, training room, some meeting rooms, equipment room, weight room, all that being done. I would anticipate it's going to have the upstairs recruiting lounge that overlooks the field, probably very similar field to the University of Iowa's. I've been down there a couple times. Iowa State, very similar setup. So, I think it's going to be in the same conversation as a lot of those facilities.
A lot the last few weeks about your frustrations with this team this year. What do you
frustrated?
Yes, actually you have, and we've asked you about it. So that's what do you like about this team? What at this point of the season, 6 games in, when you look at your football team, when you look at it, you say, "What I really like this about our football team."
We're 5-1. You have to like that. We're finding ways to win. Now, where I get frustrated, and again, I don't mean to come across as frustrated. I just think there's more. And maybe that's me being a stick in the mud. I am 50 now, so I guess I am considered old. But maybe I think they're better than what I've seen on Saturday. So if me having elevated frustration comes across as being frustrated, then I'm fine with that. They know my expectations. I talk to every single one. I love every single one of our kids. You can tell by the crack in my voice.
To fight as a coach being too frustrated when you're talking to your team? I mean, it's easy for me to be Mr. Negative, but
I start every meeting with the positives, because in this world, it's what are the first things we talk about? And I'm not picking on you guys, but what do we want? We talk about missed tackles, we talk about penalties, we talk about turnovers. We don't talk about the first 3 drives of the game were 3 and outs. We gave the offense the ball inside the 50 twice. We didn't talk about 70% completion for the last 2 weeks. We didn't talk about a huge play, sudden change. Will Mostert blocks a field goal. That's a big-time play right there. That was a big-time step up by the defense. There are positive things. We just haven't played consistent. There's moments where I think we've played really well, and there's moments where we have not played very well, or I think we're better than what I'm seeing on the field. And what I'm telling you guys, I've told our football team.
offensively and defensively?
All 3 phases. There is nobody can hide from the details. And those are the things we point out all the time.
Winkleman And Sanders on the D line
Yep.
for South Dakota State. What do they do so bad are you going to be when they're gone?
Well, they played a lot of football, so they've seen a lot of football. They've seen a ton of different schemes. I think being a great D lineman, they play with great pad level. They play with great hands. They cover up blocks. They're able to pop. They do all the little things that veterans should. Extremely active. Active with their feet, active with their hands, got great eye discipline. And I know sometimes that people are like, well, you're a D lineman. Man, you still got to see what you're playing. And I think those – and they're well coached. And you can tell they've bought into the system of their 4-down, 2-high, cover 4 is what they're going to base out of, and those guys are good at it. They've played a lot of ball, and it's going to be a battle up front.
Challenge is Isaiah Davis going to be for your defense?
Got to tackle. Big physical back, wants to get downhill on you. Man, if he squares you up in a hole, it's going to be a collision. And we need to do a good job of getting more hats to the football. Getting off blocks will be critical. That's one of the things that sometimes, you want to talk about losing the cup or missing tackles. Part of it is just being able to engage, separate, and throw off and go make tackles. We can't stay blocked. We have to get people to the ball.
Anticipate Tucker Kraft playing in this game for South Dakota State?
I would. It's a big one. It's two teams that I think have great respect for one another, but love to beat each other. And so, putting it bluntly, it would not shock me at all. I think we're anticipating he's going to play.
What challenge does that present? Just what kind of physical load is he?
Well, he's extreme. He's a dynamic player. You've seen it in their screen game. You see it in the run. Great job setting the point. It gives them 3 versatile tight ends now. They've been playing with 2 so far, and to add another one, it just, again, gives you more complexity with their personnel.
Not necessarily to rank him against a Rosenboom or Backus, but what does Bach do so well for them?
I think he understands what they're doing. I think he does a great job of stacking fallback in there too high, buying time. They're going to play those safeties down 8-9 yards. He buys those times to get in the fit. Great tackler, very physical at the point of attack.
Their program changed the Jackrabbits in the 9 years that you've been here?
Well, I think they've changed philosophically from what they do. I'm probably going back to 2016, I think, is when probably the change offensively started getting in the gun a little bit more, some more quarterback run. I think prior to that, it was a lot of under center. Wasn't a ton of +1 run game. They've been kinetic on the perimeter. They've done a great job of recruiting. That's the name of the game, getting the right kids in the right places and finding kids that are going to buy into what your daily environment is.
Me asking, you mentioned turning 50. How'd you spend your birthday?
I celebrated it the same way I've celebrated the last 28, in an office somewhere, okay, watching or either putting a previous week's game to bed and starting work preparation on the next opponent. So there was a cake brought in, extremely inappropriate. Turning 50, I walked in, my office was draped in a lot of senior citizen items, but I'll let your mind wander and go where you want to with that. But I did get a chance to eat dinner with the family, the boys. Kellen, Connor, and Brenda came up and had dinner with me. Saw the staff. It was always fun. Coach Rolls, Coach Paul. I got a video from Coach Gazer's sons wishing me a happy birthday. Tyler Rolls' kids came in, all gave me a hug. And so it was a good day. So it was successful. All right. Appreciate it. You guys have a great one.
And now I'm trying to picture what senior citizen items could have been in Matt Entz's office. Congratulations on the win, but also happy birthday to the head ball coach, 50 years old. Definitely a momentous birthday for the head coach. Happy birthday to him. Congratulations to the team on a win there last week. Our press conference coverage is brought to you by Bonanza Egg. Chris Hoffman is the owner of Bonanza Egg Services. Here's your local experienced crop consultant that partners with farmers for crop monitoring, crop protection, seed and seed treatment, along with soil sampling, fertility consulting, and more. You can contact him, chris@bonanzaegg.com. Bison kickoff on Saturday against SDSU at 2:30 from the Fargo Dome. Our coverage starts on Saturday morning at 8:30 in the morning, and all of our game week coverage is brought to you by The Bridges. More information, I'm sure, coming out. Sounds like Kobe Johnson and Jalen Sundell, some injury updates there for you. But right now, we'll return you to Fox Sports Radio here on Bison 1660.